Our guest is Mr. Chidiebere Ohadoma. He is aviation ground instructor and chief instructor for Universal School of Aviation. Many thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning. I can hear you. Could you hear me?
Okay, yes, we can hear you now. Thank you so much for joining
Uh,
us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me
Okay,
on board.
so let's start from the basics now. What seems to be the problem affecting the aviation sector in Nigeria?
Okay. The obvious one is fueling. The cost of the Jet A1 is on the rise, and majorly is the Jet A1. However, there are other underlying causes that triggered the Jet A1 skyrocketing, and one of which is the exchange rate, right? Nigeria, we produce crude. However, we do not refine crude, if you get what I mean. And as such, you export and import your product, and the whole exchange is done via Forex. And with the current scarcity of Forex, the exchange rate is on the rise.
Okay.
And as such, it will be transmitted to the customers. So if I import with a certain amount of money, you wouldn't expect me to sell it below my cost of importation, right? So, and I also want to get profit on it. So all that is just not making it easy for the airlines.
Okay, we are facing currently two airlines in Nigeria being drawn out of service. That's Dana Air and Aero Contractors. Aero Contractors has served in our airspace for about 61 years. And these are like the two major airlines that we have in Nigeria. What would you say is the fate of the aviation sector if we have two, power holders in the sector being drawn out of the sector? What would you say would be the
No,
fate
deliver.
of Nigerians? And is there a way that this can be ameliorated?
The issue of Aero is not a today's thing. You know, when I'm trying to look for a right way to present this now. Someone is owing you money, right? And he's supposed to come to your shop to pick up the money, and it's huge. And all of a sudden, there's fire in your shop. Even though you have gone in to remove the money, you always want to tell the person, "Oh, the money I wanted to give you is being chopped up by fire." So I think that's the situation with Aero. The Aero case is not something that is just happening. The question should be, how did Aero get into the control of AMCON? Remember in 2016, Aero shut down operation for 3 months, September, October, November, December. So why did that happen? So the Aero situation is not just the current challenges. Yes, the current challenge may have helped in grounding them, but it's not the original cause of Aero shutdown. Aero has a great safety issue. Yes, Aero has fantastic safety record. But before now, Aero was being controlled by the foreigners, right? The British guys, the CAC, until the government policy about indigenous person having a major share in the company, and CAC had to sell off shares to the Hebrews. Hebrew at some point had almost 100% shares of Aero Contractors, but you know, the whole issue of transition from one management to the other created a huge problem for Aero, and the transition wasn't smooth. The management of change process was very poor, and that landed Aero into debt, and that debt is something they have not been able to recover from till date. If we look at other challenges, like in the case of Dana, there was a financial audit done by the CA, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. Now, if you are broke, you cannot assure the authority that you can maintain high level of safety. Meaning, aviation is not cheap. There is a lot of cash flow in aviation, but the profit margin is very little. Take, for instance, you buy all your parts with Forex. You do your trainings majorly on Forex. You do maintenance on Forex, and you don't have money. You don't even have naira equivalent to get for. You assure me that your maintenance will be done accurately and timely. So that raised a big concern for the authority, and they had to withdraw their ATL, air transport license, and they have to do an audit, get that part fixed, find a way of get a way of injecting fund into the system, and assure the whole world that the lives of passengers will be safe.
So if I would draw from what something you just said, it also means that some aviation laws in Nigeria are actually is actually fighting how well the industry is thriving. Because if we say that an aviation law was put in place that demanded that certain airlines that were being managed by foreigners must have a greater shareholding by Nigerians, and after a while we've seen how these airlines have fallen. Would you say that we have aviation laws that are fighting the aviation sector in Nigeria?
Is indigenization. Every business coming into the country is supposed to have the presence of in indigene, right? Is an act, and it's not just an aviation law; it's a Nigerian law. You can't come in as a foreigner to run a business in Nigeria solely as a foreigner. You have to get a local person in there. So that affected the aviation to an extent. However, the problem is not the law. The problem is the management of change. The major challenge I will see with my little years of experience in the aviation is manpower development. People think that because you're a pilot, you make a good manager, but that statement is not correct. I was opportune to train some pilots in Libya 4 years ago, and the director of operation while in class, I made a comment: pilots are bad managers, and his face dropped. Now, but what I actually meant, and I explained to them, is a professional is always a bad manager because it takes more to be a manager. It takes something else to be a professional. So what I see in aviation is actually not the laws. The laws are there, the policies are there, but the management process, the change in management process have so many deficiencies, and that has affected a lot of airlines, starting from the Nigerian Airways down to ADC, go to Cabo, go to Albarca, go to Chichengi. So all that have affected the system, and unfortunately, it's a cultural thing.
Okay, from what you have mentioned, obviously, the Jet A1 is part of the issues that is affecting the aviation sector. And not just that, we also have maintenance problem and, of course, leadership problem as well. Now, where does this leave Nigerians? Because from a video that we saw, a lot of people have been stranded in airports trying to get their ways to different parts of the country. Where does this leave us as Nigerians, and how will it also affect the price of air tickets?
Okay, the truth is the ticket will not drop anytime soon. And the reason is because the exchange rate will always be on the rise. And if exchange rate is on the rise, the fuel price will go up. And this fuel will be transmitted to your ticket, so it goes to your ticket. However, what could help the system is if airliners decide to refleet, meaning that a lot of the airline operators in Nigeria were using the 737 Classic or the 73NG, and a lot of them are going to other kind of machine, bringing in the Airbus. You need to refleet, use a machine that is fuel economical. The 737 burns around 6,000 pounds per hour. That's for the Classic, which amount to around 50,000 naira per minute worth of fuel with the current rate. So if I use an aircraft with a better engines, let's say I'm using ATR, let's say I'm using even the E145, that one will be burning 1,200 kg per hour, which is around 4,400 pounds per hour, which transmits to around 25,000 naira per minute fuel flow. If I have a more efficient machine, my fuel flow is less, the amount of fuel I required for a trip will be less and the ticket cost will be reduced. And the second thing is if managers don't understand that your overall cost is dependent on your staff strength. People make employment in Nigeria based on man, no man. Oh, I have my brother, please give him a job. Come on, that is not how you run a business. If you, and for instance, for you to break even, one aircraft is supposed to pay the bill of about 55 staff. But you have airlines that have 2 aircraft and they have 700 staff. How do you want to pay bills? Hence, you want to transfer it to tickets to bring in more money. So people are going to feel the brunt. So this challenge is not going out anytime soon unless the aviation manager, I think.
Okay, so is there nothing being done right now to checkmate some of these excesses?
Unfortunately, nothing. Unfortunately, because the authority does not have the regulatory power to tell you how to employ your staff.
But the
What the
aviation
authority
sector is
does
dwindling.
is they have the oversight. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said the aviation sector is dwindling. So there has to be something done to checkmate some
Yes,
of these excesses.
And what I'm just telling you, unfortunately, there's nothing because the managers are not thinking beyond their nose.
Wow.
Okay, so but if we have
People
like
go as having the right knowledge to manage.
okay.
So you run. Say that again.
Okay, I wanted to join so that you just answer it in one breath. If you have roundtable talks across all airlines operating in Nigeria and across all managers in Nigeria, let's say let's have a think tank for how to move our aviation sector forward. Are these not some of the kinds of conversations that can be had on those roundtable talks? And how do you perceive that these managers could receive it? And would you think that things could change if we have these kinds of conversations on roundtable talks?
Yes, it could change. It could change, but will they want to have that kind of conversation? What I see in aviation is a game of ego. Someone is doing something just to show that I'm the first to do. He's not looking at the cost implication. So if we have a roundtable talk and all these are issued and people understand cost analysis running an airline, maybe their decision will change, right? I remember there was a pro bono course done by Universal School of Aviation on operations management, and I was opportune to be the instructor for that class. I had operations managers from almost all the airlines. We had a section in Abuja and we had a section in Lagos. And I will just shock you at this moment. I asked all the managers, what is the objective of your airline? Tell me. In that class, not one person could even paraphrase the objective of the airline. So the question is, what are you managing? You have 30 years experience, but you do not know the objective of the airline. So what exactly are you managing? Okay, what is the cost analysis for your airline? How much is per minute worth for your airline? Nobody could tell me that. So now, exactly what are you managing? So the problem for us is all the stakeholders needs to, especially the airline owners, come to the roundtable. Let's help you. You must not put a pilot to manage your business. You need a business person to manage your business. Even if you choose to put a pilot to manage your business, train him to becoming a business person. Let him think business. Let him not think just being a pilot. So that, for as long as that is not corrected, and I see that being recycled, every airline coming on board is recycling the same thing. This whole cycle will just continue.
Okay, so as a way forward now, or a way out of all of this that we're experiencing now, you said something about, foreign countries or owners of air flights coming in to manage their air flights without the involvement of, people on ground here, like the nationals where this operations is taking place. Do you think that we need to like go back to that status quo where we had foreigners come in and manage their Airbuses? Do you think that
No,
would be more productive than it is right now?
no, no. I will say no. I will say no. Excuse me. I will say no. And the reason is the person coming in to manage is a business person.
I think network is beginning to play some tricks on us on that particular one there.
Okay, seems to be. Come
To
back.
bring in
Okay.
business people to manage business. You understand what I say?
Yes, bringing in business
So
people to
for us here,
manage business.
yes. So it's just like telling a medical doctor who knows just how to do surgery to come and manage your hospital. He's going to run it under. You need to bring in someone who understands the administration of healthcare to manage a hospital. When you bring a pilot who knows just how to fly, or you bring an engineer who just know how to fix machine, or you bring a flight dispatcher who just know how to plan a flight to manage your business, he won't make a good manager. If you choose that professional to manage your business, you must have management of change process. In that period, that person is trained to becoming a manager. He needs to understand the administration. He needs to understand what is the cost implication, what are the decision, what's the cost of your decision. That is just the advantage other country people have over us. I was opportune to be in the States when I talk with some people. And I asked the guy, oh, you're the CGI of this company. He said, yeah, okay, what training did you do? And I was shocked. You have to run some management courses. You have to run some administrative courses before you even manage that. But here, because you've been flying for God know how long, or you have been fixing aircraft for God know how long, or you have been dispatching for this long, they just feel automatically that makes you a manager. So that's the problem we have. They need to invest in human resource for us to get good results.
Okay, so as we wrap up the conversation this morning, are you trying to say that for the most time, Nigerians will continue being stranded at airports?
For the most time, yes. That's a bitter truth.
It's quite a pathetic thing to say, though.
Yeah, and then like what there's a word you like to use, on a lighter note. Yeah?
Yes.
I know that oftentimes in Nigeria, when we have experienced a high rise in cost of something, and then the excuse is given, oh, the fuel price is the reason why the cost of ticket is going up. The dollar price is why the cost of rice is going up, or current transportation. But we find out that as a Nigerian thing, when all these reasons have leveled up, these sectors seem not to have the willingness to return the prices back to the fares that will favor the people. So for instance, the jet A1 becomes is now sold at a price that favors the airlines. Are you sure that there is a willingness on the part of airline operators to return the prices? I mean, we said earlier we could buy air tickets for as low as 20,000. If you booked a month ahead, you could get as low as 15,000. When eventually we get to the place of, say, the jet A1 becomes affordable, are you telling us on behalf of the airline operators, just like a word of hope, that things will return back to normalcy?
I cannot speak on behalf of the airline operator, but what I would say is the authority will have to force it, because the authority endorse the increment, right? So once the prices change, I'm sure the civil authority will enforce, because it's in the regulation part 18 of the regulation economics. So I'm sure they will have to do that. It's regulatory. They will have to get it down.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Chidiebere Ohadoma, aviation ground instructor and chief ground instructor for Universal School of Aviation. Many thanks for your time with us this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's the much we can take on that particular interview. They're talking about the aviation sector and all that is becoming a challenge to that particular sector. It's quite a pity that Nigerians will continue to face the harsh realities of what is facing us right now. We'll still have to be stranded in the airports. That's the harsh realities that we are going to face or as much as, begin to get your tickets for a very high price. Anyways, we'll just have to take a breather here and then go straight to the news brief desk, where we bring you the news brief, and then after that we'll be right back on Rise and Shine. Do stay with us.